Hello, my name is Bianca Peterman, and I'm going to tell you about a brilliant mind that will change the future of agriculture. You may be aware that farming with chemicals is harmful to you and the food, and that these chemicals will run off into our lakes, rivers, and oceans. But did you know that simple things like tilling the soil and growing the wrong plants together in the same crops can cause the plants to eat up all the good nutrients and die? These small farming techniques are a common mistake made by farmers who work with industrial-sized systems, and is actually a big deal. And if not acknowledged, these little things like tilling the soil every time you plant a crop is going to hurt farmers, grocers, and the common consumer in the long run. Wes Jackson, who grew up on a farm outside of Topeka, Kansas, founded the Land Institute to educate people about this problem and mainly to solve it. The Land Institute has created a funding goal of $5 million a year over 25 years. They have been and will keep studying plants that grow well together and work together so that the precious minerals in the soil are not depleted too quickly. To till the soil often is like using a small band-aid to cover up a big gouge. There are still parts of the wound that are out in the open and will be infected if ignored. Tilling the soil can lead to further erosion of the soil, which can hurt the crop very badly. Another important thing that the Land Institute does is focus on the use of annual plants over perennials. Annuals have short, stubby roots that only reach a couple feet into the ground, therefore sucking up all of the usable nutrients in the soil and soon leaving it in the form of dust and useless sand. Annuals also have to be replanted every season, which leaves time in between for weeds to grow, bringing back the problem of herbicides, and thus there is a continuous loop of problems. Perennials, however, have long, hardy roots that reach deep down into the dirt and mix the minerals and vitamins around to keep the soil healthy. They do not have to be planted every year and are less work to take care of. Dr. Jackson wants to create a sort of hybrid between these two kinds of plants. It will have the strong roots of a perennial to keep the soil healthy, but the agriculturally significant seed and fruit yield of an annual. These will help prevent the need to use the harmful pesticides and fertilizers that are now the norm in farming. Wes Jackson has written several books and was featured in the documentary Dirt. Jackson is part of many organizations, such as the Post-Carbon Institute, the Land's Blue Water Steering Committee, and, of course, the Land Institute. Earlier in his career, he taught at Kansas Wesleyan University, and later went on to establish the Environmental Studies Department at California University, where he soon became a professor. He then resigned from that job to go back to Kansas and found the Land Institute. In my portrait of Wes Jackson, there is a thick gold frame, which is actually decorated with wheat, barley, and sorghum, which are all plants that the Land Institute has worked on and has created special annual perennial hybrids of already. One of the main ways that I made this drawing was by tracing the shape of his general features on a sheet of clear plastic, then putting it against an old-fashioned light projector to enlarge it. Once the enlarged image had been traced again, I shaded and added to it with several different kinds of charcoal pencils. The final piece has a plain gray background because I thought it would bring out his features more and show the details of the grains and flowers decorating the border. Wes Jackson's work will keep moving the sustainable agriculture system forward, creating new technology and eco-friendly plants. The Land Institute has already created several different types of plants that are perennial annual hybrids, which I mentioned before. Wes Jackson is an excellent leader in his community because he is an original thinker, he's an inspiration to his staff members, and they love their work because of him. The Land Institute runs solely on the donations and grants they receive from various organizations because he knows how to convince others of the importance of the Land Institute's goal, and that agriculture is becoming too mechanical and easy, and the use of chemicals in our local and industrial-sized crops is getting out of hand. Jackson believes that with even more work and research, we can create more eco-friendly and efficient produce farms. He believes in small-scale gardens and farms, but does not think it's enough. He knows that we could not survive on community or backyard gardens, but that industrial-sized farms that use harmful chemicals, fertilizers, and pesticides can also be very bad. Think of how many people are just in the city of Portland, and how much space we would have if we were to try to provide food for everyone in our own little veggie gardens. The Land Institute's special crops will save space, work, and money in the process of growing food.